very fortunate to have a special guest here at the Comlink this week. Fon Davis, you are a Star Wars veteran among many other movies. Wanted to ask you, what was it like being at ILM that time? What was the energy like in the model shop?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing because I grew up a Star Wars fan.
Right.
So of course that's why I got into motion pictures. I was just thrilled to be there.
Right.
And we had no idea that they were going to be doing more Star Wars. And then shortly after I started working there, they started the special editions. And I was like,
Right.
wow, things have really come full circle. To actually work on the very same movies that got me into the industry in the first place was
Right.
like kind of mind-blowing.
I hear that some interesting things happened with some costumes and getting in front of the camera.
Oh yeah. Every once
so
in a
let's-
while, yeah, we would need shots of just background creatures and characters and things like that. So we would dress up in costumes and walk around in front of green screens.
To go back to '99, what was it like at ILM with the secrets, the working on sensitive material in terms of secret sets, secret models?
Even moving things from one building to the other, we would cover them in bedding, like bed sheets and things like that. There was a helicopter school close to ILM, and they would do little flyovers. And there were a lot of people that would just kind of cruise through looking to see if they could spot something.
There is this idea in sort of popular culture, the press, that the Phantom Menace and the prequel trilogy didn't have as many models, but really they didn't. Why is that?
We actually did more miniatures for the prequels than were done in the original series.
Wow.
And for a long time, a lot of people didn't even know about it because the focus was on the new computer technology. Like we shot Attack of the Clones all digital, which had never been done before on a feature. So that was kind of a big deal. And we also used performance capture for the clones, which had never been done before. So that's, I think, why there was such a focus on that part of the visual effects, because miniatures have been done since the beginning of motion pictures and they continue to use them now. In Attack of the Clones, we actually designed the pipeline to where we would get the animatics from Skywalker Ranch. We would take those animatics, we would break those down and create plans for the miniatures. And then from those same animatics, the CG department would do their computer models. And then anything we generated for laser cutting, CNC, and all the technology-based fabrication tools we used, we would share with the CG department and vice versa. So there was a lot of collaboration just even in the construction of these things and how they're going to work together in the same scene.
When you watch those movies, what is that like for you? Are there particular shots that you look at that you go, I'm super proud of that? Or do you have, like George Lucas, if only I could just tweak that one little thing?
Yeah, there is one scene in Phantom Menace. I'm not going to point it out.
Okay, all right. So we have to go look for it then.
There was one scene, you might be able to spot it, but there was one scene in Phantom Menace where I felt like we got too close for the scale of model that we were using.
Oh, okay.
Drives me nuts every time I see it because I feel like it should have been a bigger scale, but we were on a schedule, we were on a certain budget and everything, so it was like not possible to build a set just for that one shot.
Well, now we have to go and guess as to which one it is,
sure,
right?
you can guess.
Okay.
If you're a miniature aficionado, you probably already know the shot and it probably already bothers you. The big difference between professional model makers and amateurs is the amateur takes pride in how long they spend on a model. They might say, I spent a year on this airplane. A professional is like, I spent a week or a day, or I did this last night while watching TV. You know, it's about doing things that make it look like you spend a long time.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, we mentioned that Grant Imahara was on the show, your colleague.
Yeah.
He said something really interesting, and I wanted to get your interpretation on this. The answer is always yes, unless it's clearly no.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
No, that makes total sense. I always go back to the old Hollywood saying, the show must go on. You know, if they need something, they need it. It's not optional, you know. If you've got to make a spaceship blow up and fly through a hole at the same time, or disintegrate in 4 directions instead of 6, you got to make that happen. And the answer is yes. And then you have, sometimes you say yes, then you walk out of the room and you go, oh, how am I going to do that? And then you figure it out.
So here you are working on the prequels, right? Arguably the most anticipated movies of that time. What was it like when you got to the theater and you saw it all put together? I mean, did you kind of know the plot ahead of time, or were there things that surprised you?
The Star Wars movies were so heavy on visual effects, unlike any other movie at that time, that we knew a lot more about that movie than most movies, because there was effects in every scene, so you start to see every scene. My favorite thing was to go opening day like everyone else. I saw all the movies on opening day at the Coronet. Which is
in San Francisco.
Yeah, which was George Lucas's favorite theater. The energy is so incredible at those screenings. It's so much fun. It becomes more of an event. Not just a movie anymore at that point.
When you grew up as a fan and then you enter the industry, that used to be more of a liability. Now it's really an asset.
There were a lot of people working at ILM that grew up on Star Wars and that were arguably fans. It's just we would just really play that down because you kind of have to prove yourself professionally and show that you can do your job and you can keep your composure around people like George Lucas, and it's just work.
Once people prove themselves and they're cool, or they have proven their talent or their weight in gold, and then it turns out, hey, you actually know a lot about this stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you're actually a fan. Then it seems safe. Would you say that that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because J.J. Abrams is a fan.
Right.
And look what he's doing.
Did you ever have just a heartbreaking moment where you had to build something and then blow it up?
It's never heartbreaking.
It's never heartbreaking?
No,
it's
not? Always exciting.
I would think it would. So you're actually making it to blow it up.
Yeah, we always make it to blow up. We load it up with, this is a funny trick that I learned at ILM. A lot of times you load it up with pasta. You spray paint a bunch of pasta, different colors and stuff, because the debris looks like tubes and flat pieces. You try not to use lasagna and macaroni. Too recognizable. My first pyro shoot was actually on Phantom Menace. My job was to turn on all the lights in the hangar. They turn on the camera. DP is like, lights! And I turn on the lights. He goes, action! And it goes, pop. And the model was gone. And then, of course, we watched it in dailies the next day, and here's his beautiful 3-stage fireball with fire shooting out the windows and it breaking apart, and all that stuff happens in such a split second that you can't even perceive it.
Were you, forgive the pun, you were just blown away by the...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't expect it. Well, I didn't, because I hadn't been exposed to that before, so that was a very unique experience.
I could sit here and talk to you about this stuff forever, but we're really glad that you came on the show. Really glad to have you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.